Eric from Dual Threat Outdoors, Bunjie, the Enforcer, Eric's compound bow. It's a funny looking crossbow you got here.
Yeah, this Matthews Phase 4. What the heck is this thing?
Yeah. So tell us about your hunting experience with crossbows and vertical bows. Do you prefer compound or vertical, or what do you guys call those?
I call them compound.
Compound.
Yep.
This is a compound too, of sorts.
Yes. So I actually got started with archery because of crossbow. The first 2 years, I believe, would have been 2010 or 2011. Whatever the first 2 years it was illegal, I was 15, 16 years old, shooting the Barnett Quad 400, which we did have a couple limb-breaking issues with that we got replaced, but I shot a doe each season. I just always wanted to shoot a compound, so I did enjoy that time getting me in the door for archery in the woods, but ended up saving up buying a cheaper Hoyt at the time. I shot that from, I guess it would have been 2011, 2012 until would have been 2016. Then 2017 I bought my first new Hoyt. That was a Carbon Defiant. I shot that for 2 years, and probably my favorite bow that I've owned in the past was the Carbon Arch 3 Turbo, which was a Hoyt I bought in 2019. That bow was sweet. That bow I killed the most bucks I've ever killed with any weapon. And then last year, for the first time, I made the switch from Hoyt to Matthews. I got the Matthews Phase 4 here. And the reason I made the switch is because last year Hoyt had the Carbon RX-7, and this is a smidge heavier than that, but I thought for a $600 less price tag, I didn't see a real huge difference in how they shot, and I've been pretty happy with the Phase 4 so far. Very good balanced, as Rich mentioned earlier, with my shooting, very quiet bow. So it's chronoed at about 282, which that's kind of middle of the road for high-end compounds nowadays. Once you get, because I do shoot a heavier, I thought shoot a 300 spine arrow. My setup's about 480 grains arrow and broadhead.
So 480 grains, 280 or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Those are good numbers. Those really are. Like we're talking 263 with the current 563 grainer here, the Zombie, out of Bunjie here, and these I think I dropped down to about 480 or so.
Okay.
And they're only shorter arrow, but it's still the out of the Enforcer we're going I think at 360. I got to back up to about 360 with that in another video. So those are the different speeds that we're talking about here. We shot a little bit here in the afternoon in the backyard. This is a 60-yard backyard, and one of the first things I noticed is the volume difference between that bow and these. Your experience, for me, boom.
That, and for an older one, that vibration was not terrible either. I mean, there was some, but
that is entirely because of the heavier arrow.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, whew. Yeah, can't beat that, huh?
Yeah.
Boy, that's quiet.
It is.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Just a whole different level of quiet when he was shooting. I've never been around a crossbow that shot that was that quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is something I brought up from time to time. We always have people talking about, well, how can I make my crossbow quieter, blah, blah, blah. And it's an issue, and I understand that, because vibration's not your friend. Sound isn't your friend. But I don't think that the discussion of making crossbows quiet is really worthwhile. I don't think we're going to get them to the point where, like, you could shoot this in the presence of a deer and they're not going to hear it.
No.
Or they're not going to react to it.
Yeah.
They might hear it, but they're not. It's not the same as this going on, right? Or this going on.
Yeah.
I think they're two different things, and that's one of the things that we talked about a little bit about. An advantage you have, you can reload faster, take a follow-up shot. Have you gotten the opportunity to take follow-up shots with your compound bows?
Not this one, but I have in the past. There was one buck, my first actual buck with a compound, 2015. Super nervous. I hadn't shot a buck with a bow at this point. I just shot over his back, and he kind of ran off. Didn't know this was peak of the rut, November 7th here in PA. Didn't know what the heck happened, so I hit a bleat call, and he kind of started slowly walking towards me. 35 yards gave me broadside. I got a little more calmed down. I got a nice double lung shot, and he caught up at 60 yards.
Perfect.
So, yeah, that was nice. I mean, if I wasn't able to reload that quickly, he might have, before I bleeded him back in, he might have walked away and not been interested anymore. So,
I have had, now that I think about it though, I have had numerous follow-up shots with this old slow crossbow, but it's always been when I spined a deer and I had to finish it off. So, like, it's not the ideal circumstance. let's talk about deer jumping the string and speed. Your experiences with that. You've hunted what range of speeds with compound bows?
I couldn't tell you what my first one was. I'm sure I'm gonna just take a ballpark guess.
It's probably slower than this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Probably like 250, 260 maybe.
Okay.
Because that was only a 60-pound bow too, so that was another factor. Since that I've always shot 70 pounds. That's kind of a comfortable weight that I can pull and get some good energy behind. I did have my RX3 Turbo chrono, and that was up to 293. That's the fastest bow I've shot yet. Not quite as smooth a draw as this one, but that speed did give me some advantage stuff. So, and the 2021 public land buck I killed was 41 yards, and that thing did not move until the arrow hit it. 41.
Yeah.
So, and that bow, I don't think it's quite this quiet, but it's still pretty quiet. So
do you think with those, they're all in the same category of volume? Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah,
they're close.
Yep,
they're close. They're not in this category of volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So today you got a chance to shoot a couple crossbows. An
Yep.
old slow crossbow and a more modern crossbow.
Yep.
Certainly not the fastest one
Yep.
on the block, but by modern standards, it's right in the mix.
Yeah.
Thoughts on crossbows versus compound bows? We'll talk about that.
Do you just want to know disadvantages? Or?
Yeah, let's talk about advantages that you see and disadvantages you see, things you like, things you didn't like, whatever you want to talk about.
I think if you're just looking for the more efficient way to kill deer, I think you're going to want to go with the crossbow. I think the only advantage you're getting with a compound for just your functionability and functionality would be, it's you're typically a little lighter, so not as heavy to carry in the woods. As Rich mentioned earlier, you get a quicker follow-up shot. And also, like, compared to older crossbows, if you have to shoot behind the tree, you have to worry about limbs hitting. And I don't think you do too much with the Killer Instinct, but some of the older but more budget-friendly ones, you do have to concern yourself with that. Now, crossbow advantages, the biggest one to me is you don't have. If you're a busy person and you don't really have time to like for me, I try to practice once or twice a week all summer long and into season just to get my form in. Because usually the first time I shoot all year, it's bad. But once I get my form in, I'm pretty good for the season.
Your shooting here today was great. I mean, you were.
I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm getting there.
Right. I think that you're shooting with this. Real quick, not to interrupt your thought.
Sure, go ahead.
Where was your shooting with that compared to these? Do you think? Where you were aiming?
To be fair, about the same.
About the same. Okay, that's
now,
what I thought. Yeah.
But I'm not super familiar with either of those. But I'm sure with. Now, I will say this, like, that's the first time. If I picked up a compound that I had never shot before, it probably wouldn't be that good.
Right. That's the difference.
Yeah.
This you looked through for the first time today.
Yep.
Shot it using an electronic scope, but off your knee, you killed the buck at 30. What was that?
31.
31 yards. Killed the buck at 31 yards.
Yeah.
What more do you want, right?
Right.
So you practice throughout the whole summer, though, there's a certain amount of muscle memory.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah.
But back to the advantages and disadvantages, like that's huge because, like, everybody's a different place in life with busyness. If you're doing something, and I do fish a league in the summer, but I still make time. But I have barely enough time to do this, so I'm actually maxed out. So like recurve's out of the question for me.
Yeah.
That's something.
Imagine, yeah.
That's I have tremendous amount of respect for those people. But something I'm never going to have the time to put in for that. At least not at this point in my life. But other advantages with the crossbow too is longer distances with the quicker speed getting there. You have a lesser chance of a deer ducking the string, ducking the arrow, and lesser chance of your nervous movement altering the shot. So overall, I would say the crossbow does have the more advantage. The reason I haven't made the switch yet is just because I do genuinely love the drawback and the shooting of the compound. Like I just enjoy shooting a compound a lot. As Rich knows, I'm certainly not anti-crossbow or anything. Oh,
We lost the enforcer.
hey, at least it's not a dry fire, right?
No, right.
So, but I do see, like, I have a son who's just 1 year old, and that's where I'm going to start him, is with a crossbow. And I can see if I have a busy year, I might just take it out that year. But once he gets old enough to hunt, I'll definitely be in the market for one. So, but
I think so. You shoot them off a rest. We've got a rest. You can set a kid up in a blind with a rest.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's a convenient way of doing it.
I would argue it's probably the best way to get a kid into hunting because you don't have the loud noise of a rifle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my daughter still to this day hasn't fired a rifle,
Mm-hmm.
and really I don't think I'll ever get her to do one. I have no incentive to get her to shoot a rifle, but it's just not her thing. She likes the crossbow and doesn't like the loud noises, and so it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you do think that down the road there's a chance you might be switching?
At some point, like I said, like once my son's old enough to hunt, and I'm hoping he'll want to, that will probably be the first crossbow I buy. But I mean, if I have shoulder issues down the road, I don't personally, for me with compounds, I don't have a desire to hunt below 60 pounds. I think below that you're really limiting yourself on broadheads and also your effective distance. So that's just my personal preference. So whenever that time comes, once I'm hitting that 60, I'm really going to start thinking about it. Or like I said, like more kids down the road and more activities, I might switch sooner. I can't sit here and say when I will switch. Like for now, I'm really happy, satisfied with shooting the compound, but I know some point down the pipe it's coming. Just, is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? I don't know.
70 pounds, 280 feet per second. What broadheads do you use, or what's your selection of broadheads that you're looking at?
I've played with a couple different ones over the years. I've tried some fixed, and I've had some bad luck with getting good arrow flight with them. I know I'm not saying all are like that, but the few I've tried I haven't had great luck with. But the last few years I've been shooting the Grim Reaper Extras, which is a 1.75 inch cut, and that's kind of that happy medium between. I'm not getting the huge 2.5 inch cut, but I'm still getting more of a cut than a small single bevel, and then with that lesser size, I'm making up with my penetration difference there. The buck I shot was actually with the Grim Reaper Extremes, which is like a 4-blade 2-inch and 1.25 inch, and I still got didn't get a full pass through, but at 41 yards I still got stopped at the last shoulder and the arrow fell out. So still got pretty good penetration, all things considered, with that. So
you've gone through the history of different compound bows you got. Can you talk to us a little bit about what caused you to upgrade or switch compound bows? The brands you've used, a lot of Hoyt in there.
Yep.
And you're happy with that?
Yep.
I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
This is what now?
Matthews.
That's what I thought. This is a Matthews.
Yep.
And so you've got what gets you to change from one brand to another, upgrade, that sort of thing?
So I've always, when I've shot new bows, I've always tried to be open-minded. And I'll tell you, usually, like, I plan to shoot this for hopefully 4 to 6 years, probably closer to 6 years. My last Hoyt I had for 4 seasons, and it was still shooting well when I unloaded it. But with a compound, it's always recommended to change your string every 2 years. So I was at the point to change, so I just went ahead and upgraded at that point. But yeah, 2017, I shot that starter bow for like 6 years. I was like, I just want something with more oomph to it. And that bow was 65 pounds, and I did have a couple. There's a doe I killed, but it was only 20 yards shot. I didn't get much penetration, and that could have been broadhead too. I did switch from that broadhead, but between those things, I was like, I want a 70-pound bow. So that's why I only went 2 years and got the RX3 Turbo, and I loved that bow. So I kept that for a good 4 years, and I could have kept shooting that. I know the guy who has it now. He's still hunting with it to this day. And then I just was in the position. I was like, yeah, I want to look and kind of test the water, see what else is out there. Might have been a little peer pressure. I had the oldest bow at the camp that year, and I'm not saying that was the only reason, but that might have played a little role.
I know all about that.
And it wasn't even that old of a bow. But no, when I go to look at a new bow, I shoot every brand that my pro shop offers. I go to Miller's Gun Shop out in Mill Hall. They're pretty knowledgeable people on archery stuff. And I'll tell you what, the last 2 years, I think Hoyt and Matthews have been, in my opinion, by far the best feeling bow. 2017, Elite Cane had a couple good bows I almost bought. I haven't really cared for their bows since. But, and then in 2019, I think Bowtech had one I liked. But yeah, this year it was Hoyt, or not this year, 2022 or 2023, it was Hoyt and Matthews, and nothing else was really in consideration. And like I said earlier in the video, I thought for about $600 less, I was getting darn near the same bow with just a smidge more weight, and for that savings, I was able to eat it. Which the Matthews is still more expensive than most bows anyway, so by no means was it a cheap bow. I think their retail was like $1,150 or $1,200 bare bow. So, do
you find one model or one that you've had? It requires more maintenance, more tuning than the other ones? How's that work?
I've only owned 4 and 3 new ones, and I haven't really had, knock on wood, and hopefully it stays this way, I've only ever had to change a string. I've never had any limbs breaking, thankfully, or riser issues or anything now. Rich and I talked about this earlier. If anybody's a compound hunter or just a archery person, follows a lot of things. The new Matthews lift has had a lot of limb issues, which kind of makes me relieved that I got the phase forward, and makes me maybe weary about getting another Matthews down the road unless they solve it. But there's a couple of Matthews Facebook pages I'm on, and almost every day you see somebody posting about their lip scrub. It's like, oh my gosh. So thankfully that was not the phase 4, but.
So you've got basically a string for a couple of years. You don't.
Yeah,
need,
next year I will need a new string.
Okay.
I will get a new string. So now for people who only shoot like a month before season, they could probably get away with 3 years. But I do try to shoot, to get my muscle memory up. I do shoot a lot during the summer. So
yeah, I can tell you, I'm going to do a video on strings during Crossbow Appreciation Month here, and each crossbow and each string. Like I've had some where it just lasts me a few weeks, and it feels like that serving's starting to get worn out. And I've had other ones where I go a whole season. I can go a season with one easy.
So I guess this wasn't really an issue, but I did notice a difference when they did that in my at my pro shop. My one guy's like, "Hey, Matthews comes with the zebra strings, and they're okay, but I always shot gas strings out of the brand gas out of my Hoyts, and he's like, if you want to, I'd probably recommend switching and then just keeping your zebras as a backup in case." And that's exactly what I did. And I do like the feel of these gas strings. It does seem to make the bow a little more stable than they were with the zebras. So
you have the sighting instrument on this. I see 3 pins.
Yes,
and
this is a.
How does that work with
this? Is a gold tip pro hunter.
Okay.
And this is a slider, which I don't shoot a whole lot of long range, so I don't use it too much other than the backyard. But my 3 pins are 20, 30, 40, and then if I loosen this, I can slide down. I have a little tape,
I see. Yeah.
and I either pick the top or the bottom pin as to where I want to have my sighting set. I think I did the top because you can get a little farther, but I don't practice much past 60 or 70 anyways. I mean, 40 is my max in the woods, so. But yeah. So, and it stops right at 20, so that's nice. So not much guesswork there. And then I do have like both of Rich's crossbows. I do have a little level to make sure you're not torquing or anything too heavily.
Yeah, just sort of give it a quick look.
Yeah.
Before you shoot. Yeah, that's what I do. I just sort of make sure I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't beat it.
Yep. Then I just have the Matthews bridge lock stabilizer, and it doesn't fit in my case with it out. So when I put it in my case, I always unscrew it, slide it back in, and then for hunting or shooting, I put it right back out and tighten the knob. So that's something I never had to do with a Hoyt because the Hoyt stabilizer was not as long. So,
well, Eric, I do thank you for coming up here talking to us about the crossbow, or trying to crossbows out, talking to us a little bit about the compound bows. I'm always open to learning more about this sort of thing and seeing how it goes, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Crossbow Appreciation Month.
Yeah, same to you, Rich, and I will say, I think for the money, I mean, we talked about this before off video, the Killer Instinct's hard to beat for the price. I mean, I told Rich this as well. If you go on camofire.com, once or twice a month, you see them pop up for $750, $800.
Yeah,
so
for
now,
the SWAT X1.
Yeah, the SWAT X1.
Yeah, that's what compound bow. I'm not asking what that costs necessarily, but what kind of range are we in with those?
So, like I said, this was, and I don't mind sharing this. It's not really a big secret or anything, but $1150 for my bow, and I think that was a little bit off because I bought all the accessories from my pro shop. This oh my gosh. Not IQ, I forget. It's a gold, or I'm sorry, gold, black gold pro hunter. I don't know. I think I said it the first time. Black gold pro hunter. They run about $200, $250, and the bridge lock stabilizers in the same ballpark. So basically, with Hoyt, you're probably paying more for the bow, but Matthews, the accessories do seem to be a little more expensive with. And then I have a quiver in my case as well, my 5-arrow quiver that just hooks on right up here, and I still take it off when I'm hunting.
So all in,
I'm probably around $1,600 to $1,800. Yeah,
does that include the arrows and everything?
Nope, arrows and broadheads not included. That's just the bow setup.
What are your arrows?
Eastern Axis. I shoot the 300 spine 5mm. I've had great luck with these. They run about $11, $12 a piece, roughly.
Okay, that's reasonable. That's great compared to what we're doing with some of the custom arrows these days. That kind of thing. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then I just shoot a Burt Cody Luminoc. I think it's size X. I forget, but I do use both orange and green.
Coupon code Bunjie.
Yes,
15%
off.
Can't beat that.
Yep.
Can't beat it.
And then the Grim Reapers are about $40 to $45 a 3-pack.
Yeah, and those are now what they're doing is they're giving you the same 3 broadheads, but no practice point. And you got to buy the practice point separately. They're just trying to. I don't really think they're trying to rip people off with inflation. I really think what it is they're trying to keep this stuff available so we can purchase stuff. And then a la carte it. If you got to buy extra, you got to buy extra. But at least we can still stay in the game.
But just to give you a reference, that now they have the RX-8 up at the Hoyt Carbon RX-7 that I was looking at. Even with slightly cheaper accessories, probably put the same sight on it. I'd have been looking at $2,200 there.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Whereas, and then the crossbow, the scope was $999 originally, and I think you can buy them now used for $500. Lifetime forever warranty. You just buy one that doesn't work, send it back to them, they'll give you a brand new one.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. So buy a $500 one that doesn't work. But either way, with that and this, you can probably get in there for about $1,200 for a modern setup like this, which is the high end of the Killer Instinct brand. But you can get into a Killer Instinct that'll go kill deer for $250
at
Walmart, you know. Or you can get an old jalopy like this fella here and get stuff done. So the world's your oyster in the modern hunting world. We're pretty lucky that we have all these different options.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Really, I mean, from where I started in the 80s, pushing deer and with a rifle and hunting about 1 or 2 days a year, you know, this is a lot better.
Oh yeah, I agree. I was telling Rich earlier, all my hunting vacation time is all archery. I don't even take any days for rifle anymore. I will still rifle hunt if I need to, but I put all my eggs in the archery basket.
Can't beat it. Hey, just put all your eggs in one basket. Pick the right basket. You cannot go wrong with that philosophy. I'm telling you. Just make sure you pick the right basket. You can't beat it. Thanks again, Eric.
Yep. Thank you, Rich.